the foul pole in baseball. I try to be fair, okay? And I have been rooting for Trey Lance. I know he got hurt. I'm not going to overreact, but yesterday he was on a different platform or agenda than everybody else. I don't care that the starting O-line was not out there. This was an opportunity for 5 to improvise, show. Okay, maybe the 10 or 15, just rip that up, because that to me is not what it really was. Evan, I'm scared. There is a thing that I call quarterback mannerisms. I didn't see a lot from Trey Lance yesterday. I thought the best part of his game was being elusive and getting away from the rush. But Evan, the touchdown that was an INT, dude, there's only 2 more games left. So the noise we got from Mike Silver and the stuff he was being honest about that he was hearing, all the people writing columns, calling our station saying Trey may not be on the team. To me, Evan, all that was in play yesterday. So my thing to Trey was just show us, I know you were hurt, that the mental reps upstairs you gotten better at. But he was holding on to the ball. He threw picks, touchdowns that were picks.
Dropped interceptions.
I'm gonna give him a D+. You didn't ask me, but I'm gonna go school right now. I'm giving him a D+. Evan, I'm worried, and now I looked at Darnold. Passes coming out. Forget they were completed. They look like passes from an NFL arm. Trey Lance, you got to step up, and you're running out of time. So I'm nervous. I gave him a D. And Evan, I don't know where this thing is going with Trey Lance. And all that I'm holding on to is the fact that he was not out there, my friend, with ones.
And look, there's a lot to unpack.
I'm sorry. I had to
do it. No. 888-957-9570. Like, what did you see from Trey Lance? The people. I mean, we're going to talk about it for the entire show. Maybe not specifically just Trey Lance, but the quarterbacks is really, I think, to your point, Goo, all everyone was looking for yesterday.
All of it.
And this is why I'm kind of glad. Yes, I was out during the game, but I had a chance to go watch it later at night.
That's the
best part. Watched it again this morning.
No commercials.
So I missed the commercials, but I also missed all the reaction. So when I'm scrolling through social media this morning and I'm seeing what people thought in real time, what you guys were talking about, all of it to me is fair game. Whether you want to make excuses, whether you want to come down Trey Lance's road, on paper he was 10 of 15 for $112 and a touchdown. Like you said, that doesn't tell the whole story because of a couple dropped interceptions, the 4 sacks. I think it's fair if you want to call Trey indecisive, if you want to call him hesitant. But I'm also looking at a kid, and it's why I would personally, if I had to grade him, give him a C. Because he passed, but he wasn't passing with flying colors. I thought he got better as the game went on in the first half. 3 and outs the first 3 drives. After that, he got better. This is a kid that has not played a real football game in 325 days. And I think we lose a little bit that kind of sight of where Trey Lance was coming from. And to me, I think it's just because there's not much time left. We're trying to jam-pack it all into a small, tight window of we want to see Trey, we want to see him get better. And to me, I wasn't expecting him to all of a sudden magically turn into Joe Montana. I wasn't expecting him to go from where he was last season, which was a growing, developmental, projected quarterback, into all of a sudden, after a year, marred by injury, to turn all of a sudden into Cinderella before midnight.
Okay, Evan.
And that's where I'm coming from. So that's how I'm judging Trey Lance.
And I love you for the C.
He wasn't great yesterday, but I wasn't expecting him to be great. And right now, to me, Trey Lance is on a path to where I can see him growing into something. But the question is, to your point, they don't have much time left.
And that's what worries me about his future. All I wanted this kid to get was an opportunity. Yesterday, Evan, it was an opportunity. I don't feel like he maximized that opportunity. I love you for the C, if that's what you want to give him. And he did improve later on in the game. But the game is the Niners drafted him with not a lot of football under his belt. So this has been a theme. He was handed the keys last year and he got hurt. But Evan, holding on to a ball sometimes 6 seconds, like just throw it away. Yeah. I know you're not Joe Montana. I know you're not Steve Young. And again, the 10 of 15 is not what I'm fixated on. It's the mannerisms, and it's still holding on. There were some receivers right underneath, and he seems to be hitting receivers in the flat. That's his spot, in the flat, Evan. But across the middle, I mean, he had some tight ends open, and he's throwing to the wrong side of them. And maybe I'm nitpicking, but I'm nitpicking because if I had his phone number, I would text him, because nobody calls. I would text him and say, dude, time is running out. You need to pull a rabbit out of your hat. And yesterday you had an opportunity. I don't feel he took advantage of it. And now here we go. This Saturday because Purdy, I get it, Evan, should not see a down in the preseason. That is because of what he had to go through on the operation table.
Yeah.
If he gets hurt or there's some, something that needs to get fixed or whatnot, we'll handle that and know that it was done when games mattered. But I'm just telling you, I expect Sam Darnold to be the starter the first half, this game coming up on Saturday, and I just feel like, are we going to look back on Trey Lance's Niner career and say, okay, this was an opportunity? I'm being honest, Evan, because I love you and you're always honest with me. Do you think I'm overreacting because time again is running out for him to show? And right now, if somebody 888-957-9570, you want to call and say this dude is destined to be the third string quarterback? I can't argue that. Like, I'm running out of ammo.
And unless Trey Lance does something to change our minds, it does appear that that's going to be his destiny.
Ooh, man.
He's the third quarterback. Because in my mind, this is how I went into the weekend. Trey Lance was getting first dibs, first crack. He got an entire half to play football, and he needed those reps. Now, you're not going to give him the whole game. Sam Darnold comes in for a quarter. He needs less because he's played more throughout his career. To me, Sam Darnold, the way that he played, looked like someone that can help you as a backup quarterback. Your backup quarterback should have a higher floor. Now, it's not all about the ceiling.
Okay.
And to me, Trey Lance, if that's a guy that's going to come in potentially to spell Brock Purdy, whether it's due to injury, whether it's due to, I don't know. If he's got to play it all this season, yesterday did not inspire confidence in my mind.
Man,
and that's where I think a lot of people are coming from. And it's the hesitance, it's the indecision. And all of that might be unfair, but it's because of the timeline that he was unfairly put on. When you're the number 3 overall pick, when you got capital invested in your name, people expect results. And Trey Lance has not gotten to play that much football. So every time he does, we're going to dissect every little thing that he does. And in comparison to Sam Darnold, even Brandon Allen, if you want to throw him in there, people wanted more from Trey Lance. And I can't be mad at that. More than just the 10 for 15 for a $112 and a touchdown. They wanted to see whether it's the elusiveness, some sort of decisiveness. Yeah. And we didn't get all of that. And it was a huge game for him because, in my mind, this is going to be the last time that he gets first dibs, that he is first to the table.
Shout out Dibs.
Shout out Dan Dibs.
But I hear you, Evan, you preaching.
And that's why it was hard for me to kind of go through and decipher all these different throws, because I'm like, Trey Lance ideally should be in a situation where he can make mistake-free. He can play mistake-free. Now, I don't think he was able to do that yesterday because of what was at stake, what was on the line for that game. And that's why I feel like you're absolutely right. Like Sam Darnold, if he's the backup quarterback, I can't be mad at that.
Okay, and if I were to say, Evan, right now, who's a better quarterback? And I'll ask the people in the Yay area right now, Sam Darnold or Trey Lance. And again, call me Mr. Foulpole because you know I'm being fair. I can't sit here and tell you Trey Lance is better than Sam Darnold, even with all his failures in his career and where he's been at. But he was the big man on campus at USC, Sam Darnold. Okay, and I do believe that there's something to being a product of your environment. But what's scaring me is, Evan, tell me when Trey was the guy. You said you watched him in college, and hey, if you want to tell me he was hurt because he broke his ankle against Seattle week 2, but they drafted him during a time that there was a pandemic and there wasn't a lot of reps. So when has Trey Lance ever shown anybody that I got it? Watch me do it at this stage. So that's what's scaring me, that these, I'll call yesterday a stage, Motown, that maybe that was too big for him because I'm running out of ammo. Now, if you're telling me 85's out there, Trent Williams has his back, he has time to survey the field and throw, and you can hand off to McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk are out there. I do imagine, okay, we probably see the best of them, But, Evan, I'm telling you, if Brock Purdy gets hurt and something were to happen and Purdy's coming in, I'm biting my nails more now than I would be if it's our guy Sam Darnold, Mr. I'm seeing ghosts, because now I feel like just with his pedigree, I'll give him that, he would get the most out of what the Niners have in regard to their weaponry than Trey Lance.
And that's what it kind of feels like right now. Evan Giddings in for Matt Steinmetz. We're Daryl the Guru Johnson. Steiny's going to be out until next week. He's on his Ireland trip, if you're listening last week.
He sent us a text.
He did. Yeah, I was surprised to hear from him.
So it's nighttime where he's at.
So I don't know if he sent that before he left or if he was on his layover or where he's at. All I know is Steiny's going to be active on the ground. I am on my way. I'm going to be out on Wednesday. You're going to be with Allen, so I'm looking forward to that. You guys can chop it up.
Yep.
So you're back. And I'm glad, honestly, Goo, because I think you have a really good pulse on where this quarterback situation is at as it relates to Trey Lance. I come from a place of, look, this guy's thrown 102 career NFL passes. He's played 27 games of football since high school. He's a project. But the Niners are not a project. The Niners, their roster is not developing. Yeah. They need someone who can help them win. And did Trey Lance look like a person that in the regular season, did he look like a quarterback yesterday that if he had to step up the way that Brock Purdy had to step up when Jimmy Garoppolo went down against the Miami Dolphins, is that someone that you feel confident in helping you win football games?
Oh, man.
888-957-9570. What did you see from Trey Lance yesterday? Whether it was the good, whether it was the bad, did he pass the eye test? Do you only care about the stats? To me, it's open season for Trey Lance. The issue is that open season closes in 2 more weeks because the regular season hits.
And you know what? And you hooked us up with the great former NFL quarterback, Sean King.
Yes.
So we'll get to talk to him. What is it, 12:30?
12:30, okay. Sean King. He works out in Las Vegas as a radio host, former quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And I'm gonna put the rat on the table. Brought to you by Echo Pest Control. Early, Evan, I missed you. Trey Lance looked like Trey Lance did the last time we saw him. And I can't blame Kyle because this time he got to drop back and pass. But, Evan, how many times do we hear quarterbacks, former and current quarterbacks, talk about that timing mechanism in their head to get rid of the ball? And I'm going to disagree with my guy Bonte because Bonte wasn't, it sounded like, I'm paraphrasing, he wasn't too happy with his running ability. That was the one positive I thought he was elusive and avoided. But a guy with that athleticism should not get sacked 4 times. You got to get rid of the ball. You got this chess, not checkers. You got to read the field. You got to know the play before the play. Throw it out of bounds. How many times do we see that from Trey? And then there one play. You tell me if I'm nitpicking. He got outside to the right, rolled right, and he was running, and then he jumped past and threw it like that could have been tipped. The dude he could have dropped it, interception. Keep that ball and keep running. But am I asking too much too soon? Am I being overly critical on the guy that I'm fighting for?
And honestly, yes, I do think there's too much expectation placed on Trey, but that's because of the situation that he's in. Like, that's because Trey Lance is on a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. And look, and this is where I really struggle with Trey Lance, and I need some help, Goo. Because
I'm here. I need it too. Therapy.
Yesterday, I was watching him, and I saw some good.
There was some good.
And I saw some bad.
But there was more bad than good.
There was more bad than good. But to me, again, that's what I'm expecting from a project quarterback. Like, to me, so we're looking around the quarterback tree around all the NFL, right? C.J. Stroud didn't look very good. He's a rookie.
Year 1, Evan. Bryce Young didn't look very good. Year 1. This is year 3.
It is, but because of the injuries.
But what about the mental rep when you were out that I thought you were going to that was going to manifest to where, and maybe who am I? I've never played, Evan, but I thought the mental aspect of the game would have Trey in a place. I'm gonna drop back. Bam, it's coming out. Bam, it's coming out. It was just hesitancy left and right. And I know it's one game, but Evan, time is running out, bro.
It is.
For him.
And he needs it. Like, that's the one thing that Trey Lance needs more than anything else is time, and he doesn't have it. And that's the issue. And that is the problem with watching him play yesterday. This is clearly a kid that is not ready for that kind of stage that he was handed. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't get there, but Goo, like we're talking about this and Chop It Up in the green room, it does feel like if he was going to be the man that everyone thought he was
Okay.
going to be. There would be some sort of flash, some sort of sign. And there's some good deep balls. There was a 17-yard pass to Conley. It was a great connection.
It was nice.
He got better as the game went on, but there was none of that from the get-go of, wow, Trey Lance looks like a different quarterback. He looks like, and I think that's fair, he looked like the same quarterback from the beginning of last season.
With a fastball, no touch, nothing off speed, Evan. And again, I'll say this to you about that. I've been in such denial that I'm blaming Kyle for him getting hurt last year. But what did Kyle do, Evan? He gave him the keys. He said, "You're the starter," and he went and got hurt. And I said, and I told you, and I told the masses, anybody that was listening, I felt like Kyle, blood on his hands is too much. But I felt like the play calling had a lot to do with Trey getting hurt. But you're right, Evan. We're within a month, 3 weeks from them opening the game in Pittsburgh. And if Sam Darnold, gets some reps this next weekend, like, I'm really getting scared for Trey. Like, dude, it not a fit. It's bad timing, but you're part of that bad timing because you got hurt last year. And then yesterday, it was like 4th of July when you buy a firecracker that don't go, what is it, a dud?
Yeah. But that's also why I didn't have an issue with the 20 pass plays or the near 20 pass plays. And 4 of them turned into sacks. He threw 15 times. To me, the preseason is a place where I want my quarterback to try and test things. Like, for example, the touchdown pass, it probably should have been a pick.
Oh, you said, go ahead. I'm interrupting.
Well, no, I didn't.
That was horrible, Reed. What are you doing in the middle of the field? Like that. Evan, what did you say? What did you say in the green room? You kind of gave him a little bit of, hey, Goo, I think you overreacted. You didn't say it, but I felt like you were saying that.
I'm not trying to give him a pass because he was trying to pass it to the other team. But if I'm a quarterback coming off of injury and I got new mechanics and I'm testing new things out, I want to see if I can make that pass. Yeah. And if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I also want to see if my quarterback can make that pass, which is why I don't think he was necessarily pissed about it. But now Trey Lance, you can't make that pass. So, and that's where I think the self-awareness was not as much on display as I would have liked because he's dealing with the injuries. He is dealing with a new set of mechanics. He's dealing with
Let's stop there, Evan. Can I ask you what's your, because you're a smart kid.
I try to be.
The whole thing with the mechanics, how do you process that? Like, were the mechanics a problem when they went to watch him work out, Kyle and company? Why did he have to go work on his mechanics? Because to me, I'm starting to think, that was a red flag or is a red flag. This kid's so young. We're talking mechanics with the number 3 pick mechanics.
I mean, look, he needed to tighten a lot of things up.
Oh.
And look, I don't want to sit here today and make it about should they take or should they have not drafted Trey Lance. This is about what he did yesterday. And I think kind of the lead that we buried, what he did in comparison to not only Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen, but the guy on the other side, Aiden O'Connell, who was 15 of 18.
No.
As a guy who just came out of college. Like, this was something else that I think kind of got lost. Trey Lance was up against a dude who's not in the same category as him.
Wow.
And O'Connell
You know what? I hadn't even looked at it that way.
And Trey Lance, again, and even against Sam Darnold, look, 5 of 8, 84 yards.
But there were some throws, even incompletions,
he looked more comfortable than Trey Lance did.
Evan, he knew what he was trying to do. And Trey is just like he's chasing his tail, and I just wonder when that comes to an end. But all I keep thinking about is Mike Silver, those articles, all the scuttlebutt about, maybe they're disappointed in Trey's speed. He was never supposed to be Lamar Jackson. That's not Kyle's typical type of quarterback. But all that stuff now is registering with me, Evan, to where I'm like, okay, Trey, again, if I had that number, dude, time is of the essence, and I don't think it's on your side.